Combining like terms is a skill that you need in order to be successful in algebra. And so we're going to start practicing this now when you are in 6th grade, because it is one of those assumed knowledge skills when you go into 7th grade and you're working with those 8th grade TEKs. So first, let's talk about some of the vocabulary. When we talk about terms, we're talking about the parts of an expression that we separate with an addition sign or a subtraction sign. For example, all of these problems down here have two terms. We have 4x, negative 10x in this one. 15xy is a term. It's separated with that addition sign or a positive sign. 17xy. The terms are always separated by an addition sign or a subtraction sign. And you can have an unlimited number of terms within an expression or even in an equation. Like terms, however, mean that they have the exact same variables, and those variables are raised to the same power. For example, 4x and 10x, negative 10x are like terms because they have the same variable, which is x, and they have the same exponent. In this case, there's no exponent, and that's fine. They have the same power then. However, when you look at this number, you have negative 9xy to the third power. This 13 also has the xy to the third power. That means that they are like terms. They have to have the exact same variables raised to the exact same power. So let's look at a couple of examples. I want you to pause the video here, and I want you to look at each set of terms, they're inside the purple boxes, and decide if they are like or unlike. Okay, hopefully you paused and you've made your decision as to whether or not these are like terms or unlike terms, and I'm going to tell you the correct answers. This first one, negative 4x and negative 10x, these are like terms. They have the exact same variable, x, and it has the same exponent, which in this case is none. The second one, 13xy and 5y, are unlike. Even though they both have the y, the 5 is missing the x, so that makes them unlike terms. This third one is also unlike. Even though it has the x, they do not have the same exponent, so they're unlike terms. Here we have like terms, the exact same variable, the exact same exponents. This one would be unlike. The x in the 3xy squared term has no exponent. In this one, it has an exponent of 2. It's squared. So therefore, these are unlike. The 2, the square, has to stay on the same variable, has to stay on the y. And then this last one here, these are like terms. So let's look at how you combine these things together. You can think of it as all the terms are going on a trip. And so we have to keep the same families within the same car. So what we do is we group them together. We add their coefficients. So if we look at this first one, we have 5x plus 9x minus 12x. For those of us that still struggle some with our negative signs, with our positive and negative integers, it's okay to football these. We know that all these terms are the same. They're all like terms because they all have an x. So I'm going to actually add all of these together. So I'm going to be adding a positive 5 and a positive 9, but my 12 is negative. So if I football this, I add together the 9 and 5, and I get 14. When I look at this score, my positive team has 14 points. My negative team has 12 points. So my positive team is going to win. So I know that my answer is going to be positive. And I want to see how many more points the positive team has than the negative team. So I subtract them, and I end up with 2. So that means when I combine all of these together, I end up with a positive 2x. let's look at the next one. Number 2, we've got a positive 14x and a positive 6x. These are like terms because they both have the exact same variable raised to the exact same exponent. I have 14 and 6. So when I add my positive points together, they have 20. My negative team has none. So I know that my answer is going to be a positive 20x. Now sometimes you're going to have more than one thing that you have to combine. So you're going to have different terms, and you've got to think about whether or not they can go together. When I look at this problem, I've got negative 2x plus x minus 4. Now, when you have a variable all by itself, there's an understood 1 in front of that variable, because that means 1 times x, which is still just x. So when I go to combine these, I've got negative 2x, a positive 1x, but then I've got this negative 4. I cannot combine negative 4 with a negative 2x and a positive 1x because they are not like terms. So I cannot put them together. The only ones I can put together here are the two that are in the blue triangles because those are like terms. So I've got a negative 2 points and a positive 1 point. So when I compare, I can see that my negative team is going to win, and they have 1 more point. So my answer is negative. It would be negative 1x minus 4, because this minus 4 doesn't have anything to be combined with. However, mathematicians also don't write that 1. They leave it out. Just like up above, there wasn't a 1 there until I added it. So really, it's going to be negative x minus 4 as our answer.